figure out some way to get some good lighting in here. Hello, welcome back to Tiny Artist TV. Today's video I'm going to be resuming a series that I started last year. And for some reason just didn't get around to continuing / finishing it. It's my Zodiac series. And since it's May, we're going to be drawing the best sign today. Yes, I am a Taurus, and that's why I'm biased. So yeah, we're going to be drawing Taurus. I might show you a small clip of the painting that I started last year, but it was like very different from the style that I was doing the other ones in. So I'm going to do this one in, well, a more similar style. I'll do kind of a halfway. I think I'll do it in the same style as my Evie Gajinka girls. But let me stop talking and go ahead and get started with the drawing. So this is all footage from the drawing that I started last May. Technically it was April 30th, but whatever, it was for the Taurus video. And I actually made some pretty decent progress on it. Just never got back to finishing it. I think because during that time there was just a lot going on and I didn't really have time to focus on my channel, so I decided to take a Maycation. This was also not right at the start of the pandemic last year, since it was in May, and for Americans it mainly hit us the hardest starting in March. But this was, let's see, for April my job had closed. For May, we had opened back up for curbside, so I was going in for order fulfillment and just did not have the energy to do any kind of art at the end of the day. So I think that's another reason why I didn't really get back to finishing this. I had opened it several times after, that to see if, maybe like I'll just do a little bit here and there. But yeah, so for today, instead of starting fresh, actually, I think I'm just going to start with this foundation that I have and just kind of modify it to fit the style of the other ones. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And yeah, at this point, I think I've put in about maybe 2 hours into the underpainting. So that would be kind of a waste to just not do anything with it. Well, that was a fun little discovery. I guess I figured I just wasn't gonna finish it at all and didn't save it. Well, I did save it, but deleted it for some reason. I can't find it anywhere. So, yeah. But you can kind of see from the sketch that I've got going here that I'm trying to go for that same vibe that I had with the other one, where it's, my druid and her bull companion just kind of out in the field enjoying the sunshine. So the series, I'm kind of doing the Zodiac symbols as fantasy characters and kind of matching them with a particular archetype that's usually found in RPG settings. So for Aquarius, I did the rogue. For Capricorn, I did a mage. Actually, not a mage, a wizard. And yes, there is a difference. I think I explained the difference in that particular video. For Pisces, technically not a character, but I guess you could play this type of character. Pisces was a mermaid. Aries was a human. Could have been a druid. The way I depicted Aries was just kind of more like a classical Greek, and I actually did that one in traditional instead of digital, because at the time I didn't really have access to my tablet, so I decided to do it traditional instead. So picking back up with Taurus and going back into digital, the line art style is still sort of similar. I'm using a smaller pen than the others, and so the line art ended up being a lot finer, and I actually like this because this looks a lot like my old art, which I personally think looks better than some of my newer stuff. So I'm probably, anytime I do something like this, I'm going to be using my finer pen versus the kind of chunky swoopy pen that I have been using. And it just lets me get a lot more small details like I like to draw. Because even though there are a lot of artists who don't necessarily care for line art, I honestly, like, that's my favorite part of the drawing. Like, I could do line art all day long. And as you can see, I'm doing a fair amount of line art so far. But anyway, kind of enough about the drawing. You'll figure out what's going on as it's going on because it's on screen, and if you're watching and paying attention, it's kind of self-explanatory. So, in the spirit of this series and continuing this series, I'm going to do like what I did in the other videos and share some Taurus facts and myths and stories. So, we're going to start kind of with the personality of Taurus. And I can verify whether or not these things are true or not, speaking from personal experience. Now, of course, everyone's different. And again, one of the main reasons like I don't really take astrology seriously is because there's no way, there's only 12 personality types for like 7 billion people. But it's still fun to kind of be like, oh, like I actually do have this in common and this and such, and some of this is kind of like, oh, that kind of, you know, whatever. So Taurus is an earth sign. Colors typically associated with Taurus are green, because it's an earth sign. It's a spring sign, nature and earth and all those good things. The ruling planet is Venus. Apparently, we are most compatible with Scorpios and Cancers. That's hilarious. Because in college, I knew a Scorpio. And we got along until we didn't. Same thing with the Cancer. Only Cancer I've actually ever been quote-unquote friends. And like we were roommates at one point. And yeah, so, and I didn't have a questionable relationship with them because of their Zodiac sign. I had a questionable relationship with them because of the choices we made as people. But anyway, and the Zodiac star sign range is April 20th through May 20th, and that is because that is when Taurus is most visible in the sky. Apparently, traits of Taurus are that we are reliable, check. Patient, check. I actually just got a little workplace notification, customer survey was commending me on how patient and kind I was with them when I was helping them at the counter. So, check. Practical. I like to think I'm pretty practical. I like to think I'm pretty efficient in whatever I try to do. Devoted. Responsible, and stable. Debatable. Our weaknesses are that we are stubborn. Check. Possessive. No, not really. Not so much anymore. I mean, like, when I was a kid, that was an issue, but probably more so because I was a kid and not because I was a Taurus. Uncompromising. It depends. I will pick hills to die on, but they're usually hills that more so matter in the grand scheme of things. Taurus likes gardening, check. Cooking, check. Music, romance, high quality clothes. Like, yeah, I like them, but like, I'm not all about, like, you're not gonna see me clamoring for tickets to Paris Fashion Week or whatever. Like, I thrift most of my clothes. I do look for, like, better quality brands because I don't want my clothes to fall apart in a week, but I'm not snooty about it. Taurus also likes working with their hands. Well, that makes sense considering that apparently we like gardening, cooking, and music, so those are all things you do with your hands. Also, who doesn't? Like, actually, no, I do know some people who don't like music. It's the weirdest thing. But there are people who don't like music. But anyway, Taurus dislike sudden changes. I'm gonna say yes, but also most people don't like change. But also I have gotten better about that and just kind of learning to go with the flow and be more flexible because life happens. Taurus also dislikes complications, insecurity, and synthetic fabric. I found that weird on the list, like specifically synthetic fabric. I guess because with being an earth sign, the association with nature and natural things and organic things, synthetic fabrics. Well, also the fact that like Taurus is a very like sensing sign, and it's all about the way things feel to them and around them, and synthetic fibers have that feeling. I personally, I don't care for synthetic fibers because I'm a very like hot-natured person, and synthetic fibers don't tend to breathe, so I'm a cotton girl all the way. Anyway, Taurus is practical and well-grounded. Taurus is a sign that harvests the fruits of labor. They feel the need to always be surrounded by love and beauty, tuned to the material world, hedonism, and physical pleasure. Case-by-case basis. People born with their sun in Taurus are sensual and tactile, considering touch and taste the most important of all senses. See, I mentioned that like literally like less than a minute ago. Stable and conservative, this is one of the most reliable signs of the zodiac. They are ready to endure and stick to their choices until they reach the point of personal satisfaction. As far as that goes, I feel like, and I'm thinking specifically with how it applies to my art, with how like I'll keep working at something and working at something until it looks the way I want it to. But I've also learned again to be more flexible and to just kind of let things go when things aren't working, and to kind of, you know, walk away, do some research, come back. And I guess in that sense, it's not me necessarily giving up on a particular thing. It's me knowing my limitations and working to better myself, and then coming back when I can make it look the way I want it to. Taurus is an earth sign, just like Virgo and Capricorn. Oh, my husband's a Virgo. And has the ability to see things from a grounded, practical, realistic perspective. They find it easy to make money and stay on the same projects for years. Tell that to my ADHD. Or until they are completed. While we often see as stubbornness, can be interpreted as commitment, and their ability to complete tasks, whatever it takes, is uncanny. Yeah, my manager kind of mentioned that. Like, she would just sit there and watch me work on a thing and just be kind of like flabbergasted how like just focused I can get on particular things. It's like, well, it's gotta get done, and I gotta focus on this thing, so no talking, no breathing work. This makes them excellent employees, great long-term friends and partners, always being there for people they love. Earthly note makes them overprotective. It depends. Again, conservative or materialistic at times. See, okay, at times. With views of the world founded on their love of money and wealth. I like having money because I can buy food, but I'm not like out here trying to be a mogul. I've never actually, like, I've read that several times about Taurus as a sign, is like they're very materialistic, and I don't know, I guess I'm not fake Taurus over here, even though I was literally born, well, actually I was almost a Gemini, but whatever. I guess you would call me a cusper. But even after the signs realigned when the 13th one was introduced, I still ended up being in Taurus, so fight me. See, there's my Taurus coming out. The ruler of Taurus is Venus, the planet of love. Fight me. Attraction, beauty, satisfaction, creativity, and gratitude. This tender nature will make Taurus an excellent cook, gardener, lover, and artist. They are loyal and don't like sudden change, criticism, or the chase of guilt people are often prone to. Being somewhat dependable on other people and emotions they seem to be unable to let go of. Still, no matter, I do have a hard time letting go of things that upset me, but like once I talk about it, I'm fine, but like until then it just kind of like stirs and sits, and I know I'm not the only person like that, and again, it's not because I'm a Taurus. Still, no matter their potential emotional challenges, these individuals have the ability to bring practical voice of reason in any chaotic and unhealthy situation. Which, growing up, I was usually considered the mom of the group and would often be gone to for advice. So, there's that. Now, let's read some Greek myths about Taurus. Yes, I am doing a dance, but you can't see me because my camera's turned off. Anyway, the Taurus constellation was the first constellation in the Babylonian Zodiac, while the Egyptians believed the human race was created when the sun had its vernal equinox here, and they associated the constellation with their god Osiris and his sister Isis. But when most people think of the stars in mythology, they think of the Greeks. And there are two surviving legends linked to the constellation, and perhaps not surprisingly, they both involve the god Zeus seducing a young maiden. The best-known legend involves Europa, the beautiful daughter of King Agenor. She enjoyed visiting the beach with her friends, and it was during one such visit that Zeus abducted her. Transforming himself into a magnificent white bull, he hid among the grazing cattle that belonged to Europa's father. Zeus then instructed his son Hermes to drive the cattle from their meadow and down toward the beach. There, while gathering flowers, Europa saw the bull and was immediately captivated by it. She hung garlands of flowers around its neck, and sensing its strength and admiring its beauty, she climbed onto its back. Still in the form of a bull, Zeus seized his chance and headed towards the ocean. At first, he merely waded into the waves, and then he ventured further and further from the shore. Europa became alarmed, and in fear for her life, clung on more tightly to the bull's neck. The bull continued to swim away from the beach and didn't stop until he reached the shores of Crete. There, Zeus revealed his true self and seduced her. I think we all know what that really means given Zeus's track record, if any of you are familiar with Greco-Roman mythology out there. But we'll say he seduced her. She bore him 3 sons, the eldest of whom, Minos, then became the king of Crete and introduced the bull cult to the island. And if that name sounds familiar, Minos, Minotaur, there you go. Europa has since been immortalized as one of the 4 largest moons of the planet Jupiter, which is of course the Roman name given to Zeus. Another one of Jupiter's largest moons, Io, was another conquest by Zeus that also involved a bull. In this version, Io was the daughter of Inachus, the first king of Argos, and the priestess of Hera, Zeus's wife. Zeus became enamored of Io, but she rejected his advances. King Inachus, having heard what had happened, consulted with his oracles and then banned her from his house. By this time, Hera had also heard of her husband's adulterous intentions, and so, to hide Io from Hera, Zeus transformed Io into a heifer. Hera was not so easily fooled and asked Zeus for the heifer as a gift. Zeus, not knowing that his wife knew the animal's true identity, and without valid reason to refuse, agreed to Hera's request. Hera then sent Argus, the giant with 100 eyes, to watch over the heifer to ensure that Zeus could not go near her. Zeus, in turn, again enlisted his son Hermes to distract Argus, and thereby allowing Io to go free. This, of course, infuriated Hera, who continued the feud by sending a gadfly to irritate Io, and the poor creature wandered the land but was unable to lose the fly, who continued to bother her. Eventually, she came to Mount Caucasus, where she encountered Prometheus. Prometheus, the titan who had stolen fire and given it to humanity. He was chained to this mountain as punishment by Zeus, and he had told Io that one of her descendants, Hercules, would become a great hero, and after swimming across the sea to Egypt, Io was finally transformed back into her human form from the cow form by Zeus. She bore the god 2 children, a son called Ephesus, and a daughter named Caroessa, before eventually marrying King Telegonus of Egypt. The constellation Taurus was created to commemorate her journey. Although there appears to be no explanation as to why Io was a heifer and Taurus is a bull. So, that's all I have for Taurus, and that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it was probably a little bit longer than you were expecting, but it is what it is. And if you made it to this point in the video, thank you, and maybe consider liking, commenting on what you liked about this one, whether you liked the stories, maybe getting to know me better, and subscribe if you like watching me draw. But that's all for now. See you guys next time. Have a weird day.